Yesterday's support was awesome. I am so thankful for all of you, and I love you all so much. It feels amazing to be able to express myself and be received for that. And that was awesome. To be received with such great love. It's just something I'm learning. Thank you. Today I just wanted to share some hefty stuff. Kind of my experience with porn and how I fell into it. I guess a little PSA or trigger warning. There is sexual misconduct was involved. I don't share this story for pity, but more to just understand and hopefully be able to inspire people to want to dig deep into their own stuff. You know, that's part of growing up and healing, becoming better for ourselves and for our future selves, our future families, those around us. We have to look into our own shit, things that keep us stuck, that we're actively trying to avoid. For me, it was pretty heavy. It started, for me, let me reel this back. Young kids start viewing porn mostly in their teens. Everybody gets introduced really quickly, especially now that technology is, everything is so easily accessible. The age number is just going to drop and drop. For me, I was about 5 or 6 years old when I was introduced. I was very young, and I remember I don't remember a whole lot of memories of being 5 because I was still living in Fulton, Missouri, and I just remember, oh, this is a thing, and then it was all I could think about at the time because I was a child. 6 years old, I remember actively viewing it with someone else at 6, and then at 7 or 8, I was getting really heavy into finding any medium that I could to get my hands on it, and one of those was magazines. I would steal magazines from bookstores and the library. I don't know how I got away with it. I would shove them in my pants. Somehow I got away with it until, of course, my moms would find it. She would find my stash. But that didn't deter me from stopping. I kept finding those magazines, and I kept taking them home. But around that time, we had just moved to Springfield, and I was really trying hard to gain friends. There were a lot of kids in my neighborhood that I really wanted to be friends with, and one kid in particular who was older than me that I sought the attention from the most. And so I shared with him my plunder. I said that wrong, my plunder. I shared with him my plunder of magazines, and yeah, trigger warning, that's where it started. This kid wanted to teach me how to do those things in the magazines. It's hard to bring this up on such a large platform for everybody to hear, but I've gone through enough, I don't say enough therapy, but I've gone through some therapy, and I've talked about this with my family and a couple of really close friends of mine. Before it's only been not even a year since this has all really come up for me. But last year I started having awful panic attacks, not understanding how to deal with it. But the more I talk about it, the more I'm able to confront it. I can accept what happened, and I can accept where I am today. And I just don't want it to control me, and I know it's just part of what I need to do to grow and heal these things. And this is something that I want to share because I know a lot of people can resonate. I know a lot of people have been through similar things and worse things, and we can shove it so far down that we just turn off the memories and we shut down entirely, and we go through life as some weird blob. So, kind of reel it back in, I was really young. I started sharing these things with friends, and the older kid that I wanted to be best friends with started doing things to me at a very early age, and it didn't stop. It actually got worse as we got older, and another child that I can only assume went through the same things with the same kid. They both realized that I was the easy target. I don't blame them. They must have learned it from somebody. They were young, they didn't know. I was young, I didn't know. I was around 14, I believe, when they moved away, and now I had all these things to deal with. I didn't know how to deal with it. I was young, and hormones were through the roof, girls everywhere, and I didn't know what I was doing because I'd been consumed by porn, and another man, another boy, and in that time, it was very weird. The phone. And in that time, it was strange because you don't know what to do. You don't want anybody to get in trouble. You don't want to be gay. And everything that I'd learned about with porn never, or this guy never transitioned into real life. And every time I would talk to a girl to maybe go on a date, I would shut down because it would bring back so much just bring up everything that I was trying to hide, and I would ignore the girls that I was trying to date, and I would just get scared and I wouldn't talk to them, and then I just botched every other relationship after that because I didn't know how. And so that further made me want to isolate and shut off emotionally and dive deeper into porn because it was comfortable and I didn't have to be afraid of it. My head is spinning right now, so I hope I'm making sense and I'm not jumping too much, but it's part of it. We want to grow, we got to go deep. I was getting really deep into porn and rabbit holes, not being able to stop. I gave up on school. I luckily didn't dive into drugs or alcohol, but I had another vice, and it still wasn't healthy. And I didn't know, because you look at drugs and alcohol as the ultimate shittiness. This is a real addiction. You don't think of porn as being an addiction. You don't think it can ruin your life or relationships until you start having serious relationships and they call you out on it. And you're like, man, well, this is easier. This is safe. This is comfortable. This means I don't have to change or accept responsibility or grow up. I can just stay here. I was maybe about 18 or 19 when that current relationship was trying to tell me, like, hey, this is a problem, and I didn't want to hear it. I didn't know how. I just ignored it and moved on, and it wasn't until a couple years later that I really started to question myself and why I've gone through life so emotionless and cold. I didn't realize that I had zero emotions. I didn't realize how cold I was being, and I was getting very nihilistic. I was consuming way too much porn and way too much video games because I didn't want to confront these emotions that were coming up for me. And it wasn't until I quit gaming cold turkey because I started seeing that, hey, this is a problem. Gaming, you're excessive. This excessive amount of gaming is an absolute problem. And, I don't have anything against gaming. I think, a healthy amount of gaming is just fine. It's awesome to game and be with your friends. But I think when it becomes too much, then that's a problem. And it just kind of goes with anything. But I gave it up cold turkey, and man, I didn't realize that was one of my vices because so many things started to come up for me that I didn't realize was there, and all I could just do was question myself and why I was being so cold and why I couldn't feel real emotions. I didn't know why, because I had already shoved all these memories down so deep, and it caused me to shut off and isolate entirely. I was so young and so emotionless, but I was faking it. I had to fake emotions because that's what, and then I would just go through these cycles of, I don't know how to explain it, but it was rough. And then I was very nihilistic. If nothing matters, then why does anything matter? I'd much rather just end it here. And I don't say this for pity. Trigger warning, I did try to kill myself. I share this as it's just a part of the story, and I understand a lot of people can resonate. I did try to kill myself. Luckily, I woke up, and it was a big turning point for me. I was sick, of course. It was rough, but it showed me that something's here. There is meaning to life, and I just have to learn how to go through it. I have to learn how to love. How do I start with that? I didn't think I could love. So I started with my parents. I know that I love my mom. And I know that I love my dad. So I started with that. And then that grew into this, okay, what else is going on here? And starting to figure out my shit. And I learned then that, okay, this porn thing really is a problem. And it was around that time I was like, hey, if I can quit gaming, then I can quit porn. This is a problem, but I've got control over it. I can quit. I tried to quit. I got surprisingly far at that time. And then emotions that I didn't know how to deal with started coming up that reinforced my want and need for this vice. It was extremely overwhelming, and it was around that time that I was like, okay, this is something I need to deal with, but I'll deal with it later. I don't need to care right now. I'm young. This is normal. Everybody does it. This isn't a problem. I still made excuses for myself. And then, I have a real relationship with a real person, and I'm still trying to figure out, I still have this porn problem, and how do I deal with that? And I don't want to deal with it right now. I have to be financially successful first, and then I'll deal with this. And so I put all my focus on gaining any sort of financial success rather than focusing on myself and the people closest to me. And I went deeper into porn addiction because now it's bringing up more feelings again that I don't know how to deal with. And so I become very closed off and shut off and go further into other vices. And so it's like all that in 20 years. I tried to make it quick and summarize as best I could. Now I'm at this point where I've ruined some amazing relationships and questioning why, and then, okay, well, I need to quit this porn thing, because now, yeah, it is really bad. I've started to do some reading into it, a couple years ago, and like, okay, I know this porn thing is a problem. What is the science behind it? But I still never, like, truly gave it 100% to quit, because I was still so focused on financial success, to support financially. And, well, now, after hitting a shitty digging, let's say I dug myself a deep hole because I thought porn was safe, it was easy, I didn't have to open up to these feelings, I didn't have to commit to these things, this is easy. I become very distant, and I just dive deeper into that vice. And that's when I knew, after botching everything and hitting rock bottom, that it's time. It's time to start doing something about this. I hate that I started late, which is part of the reason why I want to help the younger community with this, because I don't want them to have to go through what I went through and hurt people. It's not good. So now I'm learning everything, and after the porn consumption, I tried to quit, and quit abruptly, and then so much self-loathing comes from that, from the people I've hurt, and why I can't stop. So then my body shuts down to the one thing that I've used for so long to hide the pain and to escape. I physically am not able to do the one thing that helps me feel okay. So I wasn't able to escape. And that's when all these memories and these feelings and all these emotions come up that I've been stuffing. I didn't know how to deal with it. And I never thought I could have a panic attack. You see people having panic attacks, and you're just like, yeah, you can breathe it out. Breathe it out. Holy shit. It feels like you're dying. You can't just, I don't know. You're out of reality. You don't know what's going on. It's hard to come back to the real world after that. Hope I'm making sense. Those things coming back to you are some of the hardest things to go through. So it feels like you're reliving it again. You feel like you're reliving every shitty moment all over again. It's part of the work. We have to dive deep into our shit. We have to face it head on. We can't ignore it anymore. We have to accept ourselves. We have to accept where we're at, who we are, what we've done. And through that, we can start to do the journey. I realized I've been closed off for so long that I've never truly learned anything in life. I never wanted to learn because I just wanted to stay in my own bubble, and that was porn. That's how I learned everything. You know, how to talk to women? Porn. I'm awful at talking to women. I realize I have the emotional intelligence of a 15-year-old because I never learned how to be human. I shut down and isolated myself. I'm feeling kind of dizzy. This brings up a lot, so I'll kind of end it there. That's pretty much it. Anyway. I used this as a tool to escape. I didn't want to confront my emotions, and I didn't want to confront those memories. And now I'm at this point where I can accept what happened to me, and I can forgive, and I can move through life okay. I'm not having panic attacks, and I'm able to move through the panic attacks a lot easier. If something does start to come up, if some anxiety starts to come up, I can move through it a lot easier. And I have support through friends, and I have amazing support group. So now it's like, okay, we know why, we know what. We've got to get over this, because now there's no more excuses. We have to be aware, and we have to be patient with ourselves, and honest, 100% honest with ourselves and those around us. So that's where I'm starting. And yeah, this was pretty long, I'm sorry, but if you listened all the way through, nice. I don't say these things for pity. I accept my reality. I accept where I'm at. I'm just trying to share my experience for somebody who might be able to resonate and want to do better for themselves. I know I want to do better for myself and future relationships, but I really want to be a better person for my son. That's the most important thing. He deserves everything, and I want to be able to give him that, and that means I have to be better for myself too, so that I can properly teach him, so I can properly love him. I love that little dude. So I'm going to start getting into what I'm doing to overcome these things in some videos to come. I love you. Thank you for your support.